Okay. Hi! It's Riikka here from Finland and Paperiliitin blog. Today we're doing an alt red paintbrush. This is my sample in pinks and reds. And this time we're doing blue at least. And then maybe yellow or rusty orange. I'm not sure which one yet. Let's see what happens. And sorry about the light. It's pitch black outside here in Finland. It's 9 p.m. and winter time, so the light isn't on our side, but hopefully you can see something. I'm sorry about the noise. So the first thing I'm doing with the brush is to create the paper that I then attach to the brush to add some texture and pattern. Hey Birkis! So for that I'm using a jelly plate. And as you can see, my jelly plate ain't the most clean one. And that's the way I like it. Because all these create extra texture when I'm making prints. Of course, if you want to do a yellow print on top of the purple one, it's going to be brown. So keep that in mind. And I'm a messy person when I'm grafting, so anyway. And the paper I'm using is actually this kind of packaging. Hi Joanne! Packaging paper. It was from my last job, and it was like candles were packed inside of it, and I just loved it. Would be thrown away, and naturally I took a whole bunch of those and thought that I need to use them somehow. So let me get the colors. For the printing part, for the colors, I'm going to use these. So they are the Finnabair acrylic paints, Art Alchemy paints. So let's start with the blue one. And for that I'm going to use the metallic rich turquoise and metallic deep waters. And for this brush, sample one, I used these. So pink blush and metallic rusty red. Let's get those away now because we are not making the same color again. So I'm using a brush just to add some paint there. Let's mix the colors on the first one go. Just a bit here and there. And then I'm using a, what is this? Oh god, now I forgot. Roller? Brayer, that's the word. And as the paper is already quite crumbled, I can make a bit more crumbles and then just stick it here. So it catches the color just here and there, not the whole piece is colored. A bit more the dark color, I'm thinking. Okay, where's my rag? Just a thin layer of paint. Here we go. And then of course you could do a nice print, but as this is more like a texture anyway, this will do. So yeah, brayer. So here we go. And as there's some color left, I can take my art journal, for example. Okay, now my art journal is so much bigger than my plate. Let's try that one, for example. I'm using this almost like a stamp this time. Just to get some of the paint off. Here we go. And then the other one. So is it going to be orange or is it going to be yellow? So much blue on my plate, so if I would do yellow it would turn into green. So let's try orange on top, because then it turns actually brown and a bit rusty anyway. If I just get the jar open. Well, let's add some rusty red in the meanwhile. Finally. Like so. Quick clean of the brush. Some of the rusty red here. And the other piece of paper. Sorry about the sound. And then again, taking the print. Actually, that looks quite cool. Let's see if I can get some of the glue actually to come off to this print. Yeah, I'm liking that. It's a bit rusty, like the first touches are. Okay, then let's try if I can clean this off a bit. No, not so much, but I'll do it later. Because you can always go in with, for example, tape and get that cleaned. Let's close these jars for a while. Right here a little. And then take these. Yeah, it's paperback type of paper. I'm not sure the English term. It's like brown paper, just in Finnish it would be something called voimapaperi. So it's a bit thinner than regular paper. It's a bit see-through, but not quite. And it's heavier than tissue paper, for example. But any kind of paper will do. Yeah, packaging paper. So as you can see here, or the back side is actually showing it better, there are some black details on the paper, so let's work on those next. So I'm using a stencil designed by our own Didi. And then some black gesso. You can see that I love black gesso because this is just the end of the jar. And then I'm just using a cosmetic sponge to get the pattern. Sorry. A little bit there as well. We don't need much paper for the actual brush, but these kinds of mixed media papers are great for layering. If you do cards or if you do art journal, you can always use these as your like background layer, or in canvases also. Am I loving this stencil? Of course I'm loving it. Come on. A, it's 7 Dot Studio. B, it's designed by you. And C, it's letters. Lovely letters. So let's add this layer to the other paper as well. So I'm just using a stencil and black gesso. Of course you could do this with black ink or black acrylic paint as well. But I like the matte finish of gesso. It's a bit, well, maybe I could say chalky in a way because it's matte. So, oops, sorry for the picture is kind of going all over the place. Like so. And then another black layer. Just a teeny tiny bit showing here and there. So it's the script stamp from 7 Dot Studio Homegrown Collection. And I'm using archival ink. If you use ink with the stencil and in this stage, in stamping, you need to choose something that is not water activating or it's waterproof, because when we're attaching the paper to the brush, we're of course using a medium there. So if you would use something, for example, the distress inks, then the images would bleed. Of course, that could be a nice effect too, but if you want the letters to be actually crisp and looking like letters, then something like archival ink is the way to go. And as you can see, I'm again not using an acrylic block, I'm just adding some text here and there. Here we go. Let's move these aside as well. And here's our kind of collage papers. Of course, you could now do a card with these or use them as they are and cluster something on top. But we're going to attach these to the brushes. Which way? I'm thinking I'm actually liking this one better than the blue, which is a huge thing for me because blue is my favorite color. So for the adhering part, I'm using this soft matte gel. Here we go. The jar is open. Now let's add and when I attach the paper to the brush, I'm trying to also hide the metallic part, and I'm trying not to cut the paper, but instead rip it so there wouldn't be like the clean cut edges, but more softer look. Oh, I'm sorry to hear there's again huge amount of commercials. When I'm watching artists live, I'm not fond of the commercials. Sometimes they are good, like there's a commercial every 20 minutes or something, because then you can actually watch and enjoy the show, but sometimes it's just ridiculous. There's commercial after commercial. Hi Marcus. Yeah, it's Riikka here today, doing an old red brush. Now applied a heavily layer on this side, and then I might go over it again. Let's see how good it works around the shape. Then I think I need to rip some of the excess off. But let's start to kind of getting it into the shape of the brush. And when it rips, because the paper is most delicate when it's wet, no worries, because this is the back side of the brush anyway, and we can always go in and make kind of a patch with the paper we have left. And just trying to get that shape nice and clean. Let's get that in that direction. Now let's get rid of this part here. More gel there. Here we go. Then there's some extra paper. Let's rip that. Okay, aren't you seeing anything? Did I? Went out of the camera. Almost there. Then I'm taking the scissors, making a hole there, and using the other side of the brush to poke through to get the edges kind of wrapped inwards. Just stay there on the other side. And then I'm adding just a layer of the gel on top as well. Yeah, or all the artist live shows are recorded. Well, sometimes there's a problem with the Ustream actually, and the recording process doesn't work, but they all should be recorded, so you can watch from YouTube later on if you don't have time, or if you're out of town, for example, when the show is airing. So let's do the other one. Again, heavy amount of the gel for starters. Then I'm adding this here. And the other side. Some gel to the edges and some to the back of the brush and some to the paper. This is the matte version, so even if it's visible in some places and not in others, it's still not that much of a difference between the two, because it's not the glossy, because there's also the glossy version of the same gel. Oops, now I tore it. No worries. Just send the extra here away as well. Sorry, I need to, touch my computer because it started to go sleep. The screen, there we go. And then the other hole, if you want to, for example, use that as the place where you're going to hang your brush to the wall, for example. And to me, this little detail is somewhat essential. Sorry for my English, I can't say that word. To a brush. It's something interesting because there's the little see-through hole. Here we go. Now they are both papered. So let me dry these up real quickly so we can move on. Not completely dry, but dry enough. So we can add this next layer and leave that to dry while we make some butterflies. Oh, and I know there's a few people watching from Finland, so I'm speaking a few words in Finnish about an event this Friday, which is in Tampere in Finland. So heipä hei kaikki Suomesta katsojat, kädentaidot tai kädentaitotapahtuma Tampereella on nyt perjantai, lauantai, sunnuntai. Klemmarikellarin pisteellä on meikäläinen perjantaina ja sitten myös vähän lavalla puhumassa sekatekniikasta. Eli jos olette siellä päin liikkeellä, niin tervetuloa moikkaamaan. And the next step, again it's changing in English. So I'm adding some dimension to the project with modeling paste and stencil by 7.studio. And I'm leaving the modeling paste the color it is, so white this time, because it acts as kind of streak of light here. So there we go, and the other one, let's try to get it there. And I'm just going on top of the hairs of the brush as well. Not minding that they are a bit moving. But the contrast is great with the black and white. Excess there. But what I can also do with the rest of the modeling paste, the water is not that clean anymore, but I can take my wet brush, wet the residue and the stencil, because waste none, and use that for splashes, because if you know my shows or my work, I can't do anything without splashes. Funnily though, this time it's white splashes and not black splashes. There's usually splashes in my pieces anyway. I add just some extra texture and something fun. Just teeny tiny bit. There we go. What do you mean by neat? Finnish sounding neat. Like, because it's kind of a harsh language, I think. Oh, before I could speak English, did I find English fascinating? Well, yeah, as a child, but there's so much English, English in Finland, like because, for example, the cartoons or something are in English, so you can always hear that. And when I was a bit older, I tried to mimic the lyrics because I didn't know English at that time. And I, of course, tried to sing some pop songs and made up a whole bunch of different words while doing so. So yes, I'm thinking it sounded fascinating because, of course, it was a language I wanted to learn. But Finnish is quite a different story to English because, well, we have rules in the language, but there's more exceptions to the rules than actually the words that work as the rule. Well, not maybe, but well, there's a huge amount of like rules, and then there's 4 spreads of things that don't work like that, or if something, then something. And now when I'm talking about Finnish, I actually started to stamp, so I'm using StazOn ink because I'm stamping on top of a transparency. You could use archival ink as well, but then it would need time to dry. And when I tried actually archival ink, to me that's a bit more difficult because the stamp will move a bit more, or then I'm more careful with the StazOn. I'm not sure if it's just me or if it's the ink, but to me I get a crisper image on top of the transparency with just StazOn ink. And the stamp I'm using is, well, what do you know, from 7th Studio. It's from the Nature Walk collection. And now that I'm stamping the butterflies, let's stamp a few extra, because the first one, for example, there didn't work maybe as neat. But on the other hand, I quite like how it's not perfect. It's personal. I'm starting to sound like Sean Connery. Here we go. They're quite wet still, but let's leave them for a while and think about the composition. This one goes to the bigger brush, of course, because I unfortunately had only one of the butterflies left. So it will go here, and then the butterflies underneath it. But let's paint the butterflies first. So that we can continue, I'm showing real quickly. Need to be careful though, because this might not be suitable for warming. I do have those as well that are okay for printing, but I'm thinking this is not the one, so I'm trying to be a bit careful not to warp it, because that's not the point here. paste. Let's use that as protection. Let's see. Yeah, it's fine. So a couple for the blue one. I'm thinking I'm using the lighter blue just because this is too dark, so the pattern might not show. And for the other, the orange and the red one. Let me just open the jars first. Here we go. And when I'm painting the back side. So I stamp the butterfly on the other side and I'm painting the other side with the paint. Of course, you could do the opposite, like painting on top and then flip it around. But to me, this feels more natural because then the stamped image is a bit textured anyway. So the end result isn't just clean, but there's something on top of the transparency. Whoops, need to be careful. Like so. Let's clean the brush. Then use the blue paint. I want that one. And maybe that one is good. So now, when you flip it, they are colored butterflies. Again, let's use the heat tool. Sorry. Luckily, the acrylic paints are really fast drying. It might be a bit wet when the paint layer is thicker, but now that I'm closing the jars once again, they could stay open because I'm adding the paint anyway soon, but I'm afraid that I will knock something down and then they are all over the table. My pleasure with the butterfly tip. This is just one fun way to use transparency and stamps. And you can also color, of course, with the Copic markers, for example. Anything alcoholic based will do. But especially if you're doing that, then you need to flip it. So stamp on the other side and color on the other side, because otherwise the alcohol from the markers will make the stamped image bleed. And that's not the thing you are looking for. And if you're using the same paints throughout the whole project, everything will match. But of course, Didi was actually asking me to do a black and white, or a gray and white, was it so, brush. So naturally, if you stamped with black, you could then add white gesto underneath, and thus creating monochrome butterfly. Yeah, acetate, transparency, and there's, if I remember correctly, there's white StazOn as well. So you could do snowflakes, for example, or an overlay of snowflakes. Okay, must be really boring to watch me cut butterflies. Just 2 to go. And as you can see, I'm cutting away the antlers because they would be hidden underneath the layers anyway. Now with the blue one and not having the metal butterfly on top, maybe I should add them to the top layer, so maybe I should leave those with this butterfly. Now let's do the same with each one, like so. Because I was thinking I'm making the knob part fly, adding wings to it. So then we have our butterflies. Let's start with this one. I'm cutting the other butterfly in half and folding the wings in the other one. And then let's layer these so there's like a double winged. And for adhering, of course, you could use gel medium. And the modeling paste we used is a bit still wet, so that might also hold, but I'm just securing it with some glue, tacky glue. And then the knob inside. Let's try to make it a bit dimensional. Here we go. That can dry for a second. Then let's cut these 2 butterflies in half. And this one goes on top. So the darker butterflies might be good with underneath here. Let's try that. I'm not sure if they are far enough. Maybe need to change the composition a little when I get to the upper layers. Oh, that's sounding great. Butterflies, gold, and silver, and yeah, sounds really beautiful and delicate. And then the butterfly on top. The metals shapes are really easy to add dimension because, for example, this is so thin that I can manipulate it and lift the wings up. So I can make a dimensional butterfly. Oh, and then we need to add these. Let's add that smaller one. Oh, that one. I want the tag one. So I'm using also the elements, die-cut elements from 7 Dot Studio, one of the newest collections, writer's block. Just a teeny tiny bit of paper. These brushes actually got inspired by the collection. That's why I chose the brown paper as the background. But like in many of my projects, the project started to live a life of its own, and the vintage styled rusty brush I was thinking turned into a pink one. But now this is more closer to what I had originally in my mind. Sorry, I need to grab a chair because my back is starting to kill me. Sorry. So, here we go. Almost done, as you see. So, a bit of painting still, and then the micro beads. Let's add. I'm not sure if I should add anything on top of that one. Just the beads, because there's not the butterfly. But this one needs a bit of the orange to the butterfly. Just a teeny tiny bit. But it goes to the color scheme better than in here when it was pinks. With the rusty color, the rusty butterfly, grungy butterfly. Works already. Just a touch of paint to make it cohesive with the rest of the stuff. Maybe something. I'm trying to be gentle at this stage, not ruining the pattern. And then, of course, some paint on top of the brush. Maybe some of the red one as well. Now it's too orange. So what do you think? Should I give the brushes away? Would somebody like to have a brush? This kind of a brush. Not the one I'm using for painting, but the project. Maybe now some to the blue one as well. Now that I started painting. And we still have time. Just a tiny touch there to the brush part. Nobody's at least answering that they would like to have the brush. Oops. Here we go. Okay, now I can get the jar. Okay, now. And then the micro beads. You could use the soft gel for this, but as I already have the glue out, and this is actually the way I did it with the sample one as well. I did a blob of the glue, then water it down just a bit, rather kind of mixed it so it wouldn't be a blob but more like a trail glue, and then a bit on there, and then I'm adding the micro beads. And to me the easiest way is to sprinkle, because these are lovely, they create lovely texture and they're wonderful. but they go everywhere. And if you try to pour them back to the jar, they are, well, maybe third of the amount is back in the jar, and the 2/3 are someplace else. They have kind of a mind of their own. This kind of resembles the black ones. The poppy seeds are they called? What you can find on top of some rolls. There we go. Again, concentrating on the focal point, going around and round it. Yeah, blue is my favorite color too. But funnily enough, I'm not sure if I like the red ones now more than the blue one. There we go. And then just adding a couple of crystals to finish. Now is your time to shout if you would like to have the brush, because then I will give them away. Otherwise I'll just stick it to my drawer, and when I'm teaching, then I take these and give them away. So let's add, whoops, the medium is so wet still, so let's add a bit of glue. Although I'm pretty sure that the modeling paste would hold the crystal in place as well, because it's so light. But better to be sure. Just a couple of crystals. These are from Royal Ménagère. I shouldn't have chosen that collection because I can't say it, but from Prima. Everybody wants. Okay, great. Well, not great that I only have 3 to give away, but still good that you like them. So, Didi, could you please see if there's more than 3 wanting the brushes? Because then I need to raffle, but if there's only 3, then, well, there's no need to raffle, because then you can all have your own brush. Just one more. Where to put it? There. Come on, don't stick it to my finger, but to the brush, please. Yeah. Here we go. Almost done. I might add some wet splashes when they are dry, because now the white glue is kind of distracting me. But more or less, there they are. Just some layered butterflies and some mixed media fun. And somebody asked me, I'm sorry I didn't remember who it was, on the event channel, why all red paintbrushes are now the hot item. And like I said there, I think it's partly because it's a great shape, because, well, paintbrush immediately rings a bell and makes you think of art or painting or something. And also that they are so easy to get, because every hardware store carries a set of brushes, and they are quite inexpensive as well. So they are like fun, easy item to start experimenting. And if you do something bad, so you don't like the end result, it's not you're damaging a vintage typewriter or something that is unique and most of all very expensive to buy, but these are like $1, I'm not sure, or even less a piece. So if you ruin it, you can rip it apart and just try again. For interested in winning, okay, then we need to raffle. Is the word. So let me just say thank you to you all for now, and then stick on if you want to be included in the raffle, but I'm not going to do that while I'm still recording. So thank you for watching, and next show, if I don't remember incorrectly, it's Yasmin next week, but please stay tuned from the Facebook, because there you can see the event being created and what she's going to create for you. And thank you all so much for coming. It was a pleasure, as always. So if you have any questions, please just write me an email or message me in Facebook, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. So thank you so much. Thank you, DD, and let's go for the raffle.